to think goodbye meant loss, a broken bridge I couldn't cross, that walking out would make me cold, that letting go was losing hold. So I stayed longer than I should, in stories that no longer stood. I wore the weight of being true to people who outgrew their view. But silence taught me something clear, that loving you can still mean here. Doesn't always mean I stay. Sometimes love walks the other way. When I learned to say goodbye, I found a softer kind of grace. I let the pain just pass me by, without the need to win or chase. It wasn't rage, it wasn't hate, just knowing some doors close too late. When I learned to say goodbye, I finally said hello to me. I used to think that letting go meant giving up the seeds I sowed, but not all roots are meant to grow. Some blooming, leaving what we know. I held your hand through winter's end, but spring began where we unbend. It's not a war, it's not a fight, it's just two hearts outgrowing night. I see you now with kinder eyes, no chains, no blame, no alibis. We were a moment, not a cage, and this goodbye becomes my stage. When I learned to say goodbye, I didn't need to prove my pain. I let the tears fall from the sky and washed away what can't remain. It wasn't weak, it wasn't wrong, it was the start of my own song. When I learned to say goodbye, I heard my voice again. Goodbye isn't always grief. Sometimes it's the greatest gift of freedom and peace we can ever give ourselves. When I learned to say goodbye, I stepped into a brighter day, no longer needing why or try, just walking my own sacred way. I bless the love, I bless the break, I bless the risk I chose to take. When I learned to say goodbye, I truly learned to live. I gave my light to those in need, to broken hearts and hungry seeds. I lit their paths, dimmed out my flame, thought love meant leaving just my name. I smiled when I was burning low, became the sun but lost the glow. I poured and poured until I cracked, and never asked to get it back. But silence grew where noise had been, and something stirred beneath my skin. A flicker faint, a breath I knew. The light I lost came shining through. The light I gave away returned, not in a flash but slow and kind. It found the corners that I burned, it kissed the parts I left behind. It wasn't loud, it didn't shout, it simply rose and filled me out. The light I gave away came home to me again. I thought I had to give it all, to prove I mattered when they called. But now I see that light's not gone. It just went quiet to stay strong. I let it sleep while I grew roots. I learned to love without pursuits, and in the still it found its way. The glow I lost chose not to stay gone. Time I choose my peace, the light inside begins to feast. It rises not to make a show, but just because I let it grow. The light I gave away returned. It didn't ask me to explain. It didn't punish, didn't burn. It only came to end the rain. It wrapped around my tired frame and gently whispered back my name. The light I gave away was always part of me. What you gave in love is never lost. It travels, then returns in ways you least expect. Inside you, the light I gave away returned, and now it dances when I breathe. I hold it close, I let it turn into the life I now believe. No longer dim, no longer small. My light was never gone at all. The light I gave away was just becoming me. Whoa. I stood on edges, wrapped in doubt, unsure if I could still get out. My wings were torn, my feathers frayed. My sky had long since slipped away. But something whispered in the wind, a memory of where I'd been. Not perfect flight, not soaring high, just hearts that knew they once could try. And in that hush I felt the breeze. It didn't beg, it didn't tease, just lifted me with open space and welcomed me back to my place. Even broken wings remember sky. They ache not just from far but dream. The longing never said goodbye. It waited in each silent scene. I may not glide the way I did, but I still rise, no need to hide. Even broken wings still know how to fly. I used to think I had to heal before I touched what once was real. But now I see that bruises fade, and courage isn't being unafraid. I stretch my arms into the light, not for the height, but for the right. To try again, to meet the air with everything I still can bear. The cracks don't stop me from the blue, they just let tenderness shine through. My story isn't made of flight, but of the fall and rising right. Even broken wings remember sky, and in the wind they lift once more. Not like before, but still they try to kiss the clouds they knew before. The past can wait, but it won't bind. The sky is always kind of fine. Even broken wings belong in open air. You don't have to wait to be whole. escaping pain, outrunning past. But now I find the quiet climb is where the soul begins to shine. No need for wings, no need to race. I walk with lightness in my pace. The sky's not something far away. It lives in how I live today. I'm not the fall, I'm not the climb. I'm just the breath that takes its time. Each step I take, each word I say becomes the sky in its own way. These are my steps toward the sky. Not leaps, not noise, not need to try. Just steady ground beneath my feet. A rhythm soft, a heart that beats. I used to think I had to soar, but now I'm grounded, asking more. These steps I take, they rise in me. I greet the wind, I bless the sun. I thank the tears each battle won. I don't deny the nights I wept, but I forgive the paths I left. I'm not arriving, not ahead. I'm simply choosing joy instead. To hold the now, to let it stay. To be the sky in my own way. And every time I choose to stay in this small breath, in this new day, I feel the stars begin to sing inside my quiet opening. These are my steps toward the sky. Not needing more, not asking why. No finish line, no race to run. Just truth unfolding with the sun. The more I slow, the more I see that I am all I need to be. These steps I take are home to me.
We rise, not because we escape gravity, but because we learn to walk with it softly.
These are my steps toward the sky. Each footfall kissed by earth and grace. I do not fear the days I cry. They only deepen my embrace. I am not lost, I am not late. I'm simply walking toward my fate. These steps I take, our flight, our sky, our me. I kept on moving just to feel. Thought speed would make the silence heal. I dressed my wounds in louder songs, but they still bled when nights grew long. I wore a smile like armor tight, yet shaking hands behind the light. But in the dark when noise fell far, I heard the silence in my scars. Not screams, not cries, just quiet space. A voice I'd lost, a younger face. It whispered things I used to know before the world taught me to go. The silence between my scars spoke louder than the pain. It told me I still am beneath the years of rain. It didn't shout or blame, it didn't need to prove. It simply said, be still, you have nothing left to lose. I used to think that healing roared like wildfires clearing forest floors. But now I see it comes like breath that slowly pulls me back from death. I sat with ghosts I used to flee, and they just wanted me to see that every ache I tried to drown was there to build, not break me down. No fixing fast, no magic word, just listening in to what I heard between the cracks beneath the skin. The quiet has come home again. The silence between my scars held truths I couldn't fake. It didn't judge my past, it didn't call me mistake. It hummed like waves at night, it wrapped around my flame and whispered you are whole, even with the pain. I stopped running from what didn't speak. Oh. And in that stillness I found the voice that never left me. The silence between my scars is now the song I sing. Not perfect, not on mark, but held in everything. I walk with open arms, I breathe the broken air. The silence between my scars was always leading there. Held the weight with steady hands, took on the blame I didn't understand. I wore their silence like a chain, believed their shadows were my shame. I said I'm sorry every time for hurts that weren't exactly mine. I played the roles they couldn't face and called that love and called that grace. But now I see the tangled thread, the stories whispered, words unsaid. Not all I held was meant for me. Some pain belongs to history. I carried what wasn't mine, like a child trying to keep the peace. Took on sorrow like a sign that love meant giving up my peace. But now I lay it down with care, I let it float into the air. I carried what wasn't mine, but I won't anymore. Their fear became my second skin, their silence echoing within. I thought that healing meant to stay, no matter how I lost my way. I didn't know I had the right to put down burdens, claim my light. But now the truth begins to rise, like morning in my tired eyes. The love I need won't make me bend or call my wholeness just pretend. It sees me clear, it doesn't bind, it gives back what was never mine. I carried what wasn't mine, the broken words, the silent screams, the roles they drew outside my lines, the weight of other people's dreams. But now I breathe and now I choose the things I hold, the truths I use. I carried what wasn't mine, and now I let it go. Not all you care but now I know I can be kind without becoming someone's cave. I lay it down, not out of spite, because I want to live in light. I carried what wasn't mine, and now I carry me. I woke up each day just to cope. No dreams, no breath, just threads of hope. I smiled on cue, I played the part, and numbed the beating of my heart. I called it strength, I called it grace, but it was just an empty face. I wore my silence like a crown, and told myself don't let them down. But late at night behind the door, I wasn't told, I wasn't sure. I was surviving, not alive, mistaking numb for how to thrive. The lie I called survival was just a shell I wore. A life of quiet battles behind a locked up door. I told the world I'm fine, but I was drowning slow. The lie I called survival, it kept me from my soul. I laughed at times I should have cried. I ran from things I held inside. I learned to shrink, to bend, to hide, just to feel safe, just to survive. But healing came with brutal light that showed me what I lost in fight. I missed the living while I ran. I forgot how to just be, not planned. I want more than just I'm still here. I want the joy, the fall, the tear. I want a life I feel and choose, not one where all I do is lose. The lie I called survival said hurt less and you'll win, but now I want revival. I want the light within. I want to break that cage. I want to scream and know the lie I called survival is not the way I grow. I don't want to survive if it costs me the sound of my laughter, the truth of my tears, the wonder of being here. The lie I called survival was never home to me. I'm done with just enduring. I'm choosing now to be. I want the messy, full and wild, the freedom of a fearless child. The lie I called survival is where I say goodbye. Whoa, 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 whoa. I used to think goodbye meant loss, a broken bridge I couldn't cross, that walking out would make me cold, that letting go was losing hold. So I stayed longer than I should, in stories that no longer stood. I wore the weight of being true to people who outgrew their view. But silence taught me something clear, that loving you can still mean here. Doesn't always mean I stay. Sometimes love walks the other way. When I learned to say goodbye, I found a softer kind of grace. I let the pain just pass me by, without the need to win or chase. It wasn't rage, it wasn't hate, just know seeds I sow, but not all roots are meant to grow. Some blooming, leaving what we know. I held your hand through winter's end, but spring began where we unbend. It's not a war, it's not a fight, it's just two hearts outgrowing night. I see you now with kinder eyes. No chains, no blame, no alibis. We were a moment, not a cage, and this goodbye becomes my stage. When I learned to say goodbye, I didn't need to prove my pain. I let the tears fall from the sky and washed away what can't remain. It wasn't weak, it wasn't wrong, it was the start of my own song. When I learned to say goodbye, I heard my voice again. Goodbye isn't always grief. Sometimes it's the greatest gift of freedom and peace we can ever give ourselves. When I learned to say goodbye, I stepped into a brighter day. No longer needing why or try, just walking my own sacred way. I bless the love, I bless the break, I bless the risk I chose to take. When I learned to say goodbye, I truly learned to live. I used to think that peace was weak, a quiet place for hearts to meet. I chased the noise, I loved the fire, thought fear was part of climbing higher. I measured worth by what I fought, confused the scars with what I saw. But then I stopped, and in that pause, I heard a voice beneath my cause. It didn't shout, it didn't cry, it didn't ask for reasons why. It simply hummed, it simply stayed, and all my fear began to fade. Peace is louder than my fears, stronger than the voice that shakes. It doesn't need to win or roar, it doesn't burn, it gently breaks. Through walls I built to hold the pain, through storm and shadow, loss and rain. Peace is louder than my fears, and now I hear it clear. I used to flinch at being still, like calm was something I must kill. But silence wrapped around my flame and whispered, you are not to blame. I let the wind undo my weight, I let the ground decide my fate. I'm not a war I have to fight, I am the dusk, I am the light. It doesn't come with trumpet sound, but grows when I lay armor down. It's not a prize I have to win, it starts and ends from deep within. Peace is louder than my fears, it doesn't chase, it doesn't flee. It teaches me to just remain and let the waves move through the sea. I thought I needed noise to prove, but peace showed me the strength to move. Peace is louder than my fears, and now I let it lead. I stop fighting my storms, and that's when they soften. I stop fearing my fear, and that's when it passed. Peace is louder than my fears, it's quiet, yes, but bold and true. It stays with me through grief and joy, through breaking down and breaking come. I used to dig through every scar, like answers lived in who we are. I thought I had to earn release through pages full of guilt and grief. I questioned every past mistake, each wrong turn I was told to take. Thought healing came from knowing how, but all I had was here and now. And something soft began to rise, a warmth that didn't moralize. It didn't say you must explain, it only said let go the pain. I forgave myself before I asked why I didn't need the reasons clear. I held my heart and heard it cry, and whispered you can rest right here. I laid the shame across the sky and watched it drift, no need to try. I forgave myself and found the breath I lost. Oh, oh, oh. Thought that grace was something earned, a lesson tested, trial learned. But grace, it came like sudden rain. No terms, no rules, just ease the flame. I used to wear regret like skin, as if my past defined within. But now I see with clearer sight that even wrong can lead to light. I'm not the worst I've ever been, I'm not the fault, I'm not the sin, I'm not the voice that kept me small. I'm more than that, I'm more than all. I forgave myself before I asked why, not out of pride, not to forget, because my soul was asking me to love what I had left unmet. I kissed the wounds I used to hide life I'm meant to live? Must I collapse so I can give? But I am not the storm I face. I am not strength defined by waste. I am not here to always strive. I am enough just being alive. My worth isn't measured by the fight, not by the scars I had to hide, not by the nights I stayed and broke, or silent wars I never spoke. I am not strong because I fall. I am not weak for having walls. My worth isn't tied to pain. It's tied to breathe, to being plain. I used to chase what looked like brave, ignore the softness that I crave. Thought boundaries meant I couldn't care, that resting meant I wasn't there. But now I see in quiet truth that gentleness is strength in youth, that I don't need to bleed to shine. My calm can be a sacred sign. Let others fight to prove they're real. I'll choose the strength of how I feel. I'll hold my peace, I'll trust the still. I'm worthy now and always will. My worth isn't measured by the fight, not by how loud I scream at night, not by how much I let things slide, or how much soul I've had to hide. I'm not a test to be endured. I'm not a trial to be secured. My worth is in my open hands, not in the wars. I understand. You don't have to break to be seen. You don't have to fight to be free. Your softness is enough. My worth isn't measured by the fight. It's in the way I breathe in light. It's in the smile I give unearned. The way I rest, the way I've learned to be without the need to prove, to stay and still allowed to move. My worth is here in being me.